Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so for today's video is a collab between my favorite YouTube ladies. This is the third one and we've expanded the group this time round. These are their channels. Please do check out their art in the links below. The theme for today's collab is childhood memories. To be honest, I was a bit concerned due to my lack of ability in drawing human figures. So instead, I chose the daisy to represent my younger self. Daisies are meant to symbolize innocence and purity, and that's exactly what childhood is all about. I loved my childhood. There were no smartphones, and the computer was just a mysterious bulky box that my grandmother thinks would explode if it's on for too long. It wasn't until when ICQ became a trend only did I start using the computer. Since there was no distractions from technology, I used to spend a lot of my time reading. I had a room with 3 full bookshelves. At that point of time, those were my most treasured assets. Among the many books that I've read, Rapunzel was one of them. And I don't know why I was obsessed with Rapunzel's long hair. So I gathered all my mom's black clothes, tied it together and attached it to mine. My parents were working parents, so most of my afternoons were spent with my grandmother, and she would be the victim to my strange antics. Often I would make her say the famous line. Instead of Rapunzel, she would say, "Sola, Sola, your hair put down?" And I would happily toss my braid made of my mom's black clothes down the window. Once, my mom came home early and she was mortified by my Rapunzel display. After telling my parents I wanted to be Rapunzel when I grow up, they hang a wooden board in my room with a quote, "Aim for the moon, even if you fall you'll land on the stars." I guess they weren't too happy with my career choice then. But they weren't typical Asian parents who insist of having a doctor in the family either. On the first day of pre-elementary school, all the kids had to do an introduction along with their ambition, and at least a quarter of the class quoted doctors as their first choice. I remember being curious as to why so many kids wanted to be doctors, so I went home and asked my parents if I should be one. Their answers would probably shock all the other Asian parents. And they replied, "How to be a doctor when you're so scared of needles and blood? Also, you'll spend 10 years studying and another 10 years slaving in a public hospital. In the day, you will see sick people, and in the night, you will see dead people, or rather ghosts. By the time you open your clinic, you will probably be sick yourself. Don't worry about it and just follow your passion," they would reassure me. Upon hearing that, I was motivated, and reading that quote in my room every day has awakened the ambitious drive in my little self. However, during then, my education of the solar system was limited to Sailor Moon. So, being the smart aleck I was, I went up to them and said, "The moon is so near Earth. I would rather aim for Pluto. Then if I miss, I'll land on Neptune or Uranus." My dad started bursting into laughter when I mentioned Uranus, but I was too pure to understand why. Now that my mind is a lot more contaminated, I finally get it. Both my parents have a weird sense of humor and sarcasm. One day, one of my friends who was a white kid asked me, "How did the pelican that brought you to your parents look?" He said that his mom told him that it was a beautiful baby blue bird that delivered him to their homes. Intrigued, I went home and asked my mom the same question. In the straightest face, she answered, "There was no pelican. I found you crying in a rubbish bin." I was shocked and in disbelief for days that I was nobody's child. And my mom would spend the next 5 days after that with birth certificates and baby pictures to reassure me that I was her child. I confronted her this again when I was a teenager and she simply replied, "Stupid question gets stupid answer." My dad is no better either. He would teach me how to ride a bike and pinky promise not to let go. And right when I'm turning at the corner, he would go, "Look, no hands," while laughing evilly. I fell and refused to speak to him for days. This is also probably where I get my trust issues. But all this aside, they are both super loving and supportive parents, especially my mother, and even my grandmother. My grandmother, for some reason, was convinced that I was meant to be a superstar or a mega celebrity and had me convinced too. So I was encouraged to learn anything that requires a stage. From ballet, singing, speech and drama, child modelling, piano, the list goes on and I was eager to learn them all. My supportive mom would sign me up for all the lessons that I wanted. Even though she was a working mom, without fail, she would send me to and fro and wait for my lessons to finish without complaints. Unfortunately, I would get bored and drop off halfway. Instead of superstar, I am now a jack of all trades but master to none. Like all the other kids, the first property I aspired to own was a tree house. But was immediately ruled out as impractical and additional housework, so I had to settle with building my own fort with a blanket in between the sofas. And then my grandmother would teach me how to play Jin Rami inside the fort. I've modified it with a little fairy lights in this painting, but in reality, my grandmother would have probably said that the fairy lights might catch fire and burn the house down. Another fond memory of mine, since I'm a hopeless romantic, was my first crush. That turning point when you stop hating boys and actually find one of them decent. Because I felt I was always too cool for hopscotch, I used to play a lot of tag, running around the park. How tag works is quite simple. Whoever gets tagged becomes it, right? One day, a new kid in town came and revamped the whole game into cops and robbers. Now this is when the dynamics have shifted. I chose to be on Team Robbers, and then this guy who runs exceptionally fast would save me when I was caught, and I would return the favour and do the same. The next thing I know, we were holding hands sprinting across the field running for our lives. See, falling in love was so easy then. Family backgrounds, social status, careers, looks, personality all did not matter. What was important was that he ran really fast, and he risked his life to save me from prison, which was pretty much under the slide, and I was willing to sacrifice the same. We were like mini Bonnie and Clydes. To wrap it all up, this is a mere glimpse of my childhood memory. It's impossible to fit everything in a 12-inch canvas, but I had a lot of fun reminiscing while painting this. I hope you guys enjoyed this short story time and painting. Do remember to check out the other channels and see what your childhood memories are. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys again soon. Bye!